The yoga practices that I like to do at home are usually focused on a specific area of the body, like the hip, the knee, the ankle, the shoulders. For this practice, it feels right to do a full practice wherein we practice sun salutes, standing poses, balance poses, seated poses, supine poses, and then, of course, Savasana, a full practice. We'll begin standing at the front of the mat. As you stand tall at the front of the mat, you may wish to use for our practice a belt, blocks, or blanket. And if you don't have those, no problem. We can improvise. At the front of your mat, with your feet hip distance apart, stand tall. On the in-breath, spread your fingers, reach your hands up and slightly back. Exhale, take your hands to the earth right alongside your ankles. Step your right foot back. Bring your back knee down. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, take your hands down. Step back to a plank position. Lower yourself to the mat. On the in-breath, keep your elbows bent for a baby cobra position. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe in deep. Breathe out long. Look forward, step your right foot right between your hands and bring your back knee down. Inhale, reach your arms up. Reach back. Exhale, take your hands down. Step your back foot forward. Place your hands to your low back. Rise up. Reach up to the sky and back. Exhale, take your hands to the earth. Step your left leg back. Bring your knee down. Take your arms up. Gaze up. Reach back. Release your hands down. Step back to a plank position. Lower yourself to the mat. In breath as you draw your heart forward. Exhale breath, downward facing dog. Inhale breath, step the left foot forward. Exhale, take the right knee down. Inhale, reach your arms up and back. Exhale, hands down. Step your back foot forward. Place both hands to the low back and rise up. Release your hands. Sun salutes have a way of just really getting you engaged, warming you up for the full practice. Let's do one more sun salute on the right side, then the left side in a high lunge format. Inhale, reach up and back. Exhale, release your hands down. Step your right foot back. This time, keep your right knee lifted. Take your hands right above the left knee. Sweep your arms up. Reach your gaze up. Reach back. Exhale, take your hands down. Now keep your right hand where it is. Take your left hand to your low back. Turn your heart toward the inner knee. Reach your left arm up and over. Release your hand down. Step back to downward facing dog. Breathe in deep. Breathe out long. Breathe in and come to a plank position. Breathe out, lower down. Breathe in, reach your heart forward. Breathe out, downward facing dog. Breathe in, step your right foot right between your hands. Balance yourself in a high lunge. Reach your arms up, gaze up, hands back, gaze back. Release your hands down to the mat. With your left hand remaining on the floor, take your right hand off the floor to your low back. Turn your heart. Reach your right arm up and over. Release your hand down. Step your back foot forward. Place both hands to the low back. Rise up. Reach up. Reach back. Exhale. Come to the earth. Take your left leg back. Inhale. Reach your arms up. Gaze up. Hands back. Take your hands down. Twist. Reach your right arm up and over. Release your hand down. Step back to downward facing dog. Breathe in deep. And breathe out long. Breathe in. Breathe out long. Breathe in deep. Breathe out long. Come to a plank position. Lower yourself to the mat. Inhale, reach your heart forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward. Rise up. Reach back. Release your hands down. Twist toward your inner left knee. Reach your left arm up and over. Release your hand down. Step your back foot forward. Place both hands to your low back and rise up. Release your hands and pause again. Those 2 rounds, full rounds of sun salutes. And each round we did them slightly different. But just pause and notice the effects. Now with that brightness that you feel, that openness that sun salutes give you, let's come to do some standing poses. So step your feet nice and wide apart and parallel to each other. Take your hands to your low back. Draw your elbows in. Lift your gaze up. Now with the knees slightly bent, take the tops of the thighs back. Keep your elbows hugging in toward each other and draw your heart down toward the earth. Keep the feet pulling in strongly toward each other. Release your right hand to the mat. Twist, turn your heart toward the left side. Take your hands to your low back again with bent knees. Hug your elbows in, rise up. Keep pulling in like you really mean it. You're really engaging your inner thigh muscles nicely so that you can protect and strengthen the lumbar curve. With your hands to the low back so that you can feel the lumbar curve, with your knees slightly bent and your inner thighs drawing back and apart. Draw your heart down. Release your left hand to the floor. Come to fingertip top position and notice if you come to fingertip top position as opposed to a flat hand on the mat, just notice how that just gives you a little bit more space to come to a deeper expression of the pose. With this nice fullness in the twist, you can now slowly come out of the twist by taking the left hand back to the low back with knees bent, root down through your tailbone to lift yourself up and out of the pose. Let's do a pose that surely we do most of our practices. Turn your right toes out for Virabhadrasana number 2. So bend your right knee. Inhale, sweep your arms up. And notice if you give yourself a little bit more freedom and lift your hands a little bit higher, how much easier it feels on your neck muscles. So as you take your gaze out over your extended right hand, you may be able to float your hands down a little bit. Just keep the strength of the back leg before reaching back to the back leg and lifting up and over your head with the front hand. Now inhale, rise up, come to feet parallel again. Look to make sure the feet are nice and parallel before turning your left toes out. Bend your left knee. Inhale, sweep your arms up. And again, just kind of play with it. Like if you take your hands a little bit higher, can you feel the freedom that it gives your neck? Let the arms settle to that position that feels right to you in Virabhadrasana 2 before reaching back toward the back leg, reaching up toward the left hand, reaching over with the left hand to get a nice stretch to the side body. Inhale, rise up to come out of the pose. Release your hands and heel toe your feet in toward each other. You can come off the mat, you can come close to a wall if you'd like. We'll be balancing on one leg, so figure out what works for you. Before rooting down through the right leg, before lifting up the left leg, make your right leg feel like it's supporting almost all your weight. And with that strength, with that stability that you can give it, with a nice fullness in your breath, slowly lift up your left leg. Now park your left foot by pointing the foot toward the inner thigh and planting your heel. Keeping the right leg really steady. Lift your arms up. Just have this nice brightness and let the form of the pose that you adopt show this brightness, display the brightness. Keep this nice fullness in your pose and release your hands down. Release your foot down and balance on 2 feet. Pause for a moment. Just reflect on your breath. In this full and complete practice, we're going through what yogis historically have felt like a full practice should be, meaning sun salutes, standing poses, balance poses, seated poses, and supine poses. So as you prepare for balancing on your left leg, take what feels like most of the weight on the left leg, not leaning into the left leg, but just transferring energetically the weight to the left leg while still keeping the right leg down. Now, keeping that awareness, that solid foundation that you've created in the left leg, lift up your right leg. And as you're ready, you can point your toes, park your foot to the inner thigh, and pull in, draw into the midline with the foot, with the inner thigh. From there, reach out to find this fullness and expression Let your arms help you out in the balance. Keep this nice steadiness in the pose, this fullness in your breath, this engagement, just the joy of doing the practice, giving yourself this time to be in the practice. Release your hands down, release your foot down, and once again, let's come to a wide leg stance. As you step wide, turn your right toes out, pull in from the front foot to the back before expanding and reaching out. Keep both legs straight and strong. Draw your right hand down. Take your left hand to your low back or your waist for now. Just let your head sort of hang toward the earth so that you find freedom in your neck muscles. Now keep your eyes to the floor, but slowly start to turn your upper thoracic, turn your upper chest. Keep your eyes on the floor. Start to turn your head. Keep on turning your head. Now reach your eyes up toward the sky. Reach your left arm to the sky. Come to a form of triangle pose that really enhances the fullness that you feel. Let your pose just be that picture of fullness for you. And have that fullness expressed through full energy, full rootedness in the back foot before inhaling to lift yourself up out of the pose through the strength of the back foot. Release your hands. Come to the opposite side. Turn your left toes out. Inhale, lift your arms up. And once again, have the arms float up in such a way that you don't feel like the arms are like a hanger. The neck feels like it's bearing so much weight. From here, take your left hand down. Take your right hand to your waist or your low back and look to the floor to begin. Now, from the foundation, from the steadiness of your feet as you draw in from the earth to the pelvis, take the inner thighs way back and apart. You're looking at the floor and slowly start to turn your upper chest. Take the head of your left arm bone back. You're still looking at the floor. Keep on revealing and opening the chest nicely before reaching your arm and your gaze up. Just find this fullness in your pose. Keep on pulling in from the strength of the back leg. And it's from the strength of the back leg that you rely on its rootedness to draw you slowly and easily out of the pose. Release your hands. Now that we got a little stretch to our hamstrings, with our feet parallel again as we did before, take your hands behind your back. Last time we had our hands flat to the low back. This time, interlace your fingers behind the back. Bend your knees. Take your inner thighs way back and apart. And just as if you're just offering the fullness of your practice, allow yourself to just bow forward. And just honor your practice. And as is the custom in many cultures, you can honor just by bowing, by offering. Now take your interlaced fingers up toward the sky, just slightly. Relax your head toward the earth. Keep on reaching the fingers up. Now slowly place your hands to your low back. With bent knees, draw your tailbone down as you pull your feet in toward each other to rise up. I think bending the knees just gives you a little bit more strength. It's important to have this movement from that sense of strength. And with bent knees, I feel like I do engage the fullness of the leg from the toes all the way to the pelvis. We'll come to a seated pose now by doing a heel-toe step so that your feet are parallel to each other, or maybe even slightly wider apart because we're coming to a squat position. Now, some of us, our knees don't like coming to a squat position. So if squats aren't for you, then obviously you'll be improvising. You can bend your knees and draw your pelvis down. Maybe use your arms to help you out so that you can balance nicely. If you can, work your inner knees toward your upper arms. Just hug in nicely so that you can get this nice feeling of openness in the pose. Just keep that. Maybe you can go a little bit lower to the earth here. And as you're ready, see if you can just park your pelvis down easily. From here, take your legs nice and wide apart. We are in that wide stance standing. So now that your feet aren't working against the floor, can you still feel that powerful pulling in of the legs? Can you engage the legs so that you feel the inner thighs work nicely? And again, if that's hard for you with straight legs, you can bend the knees. If it's still hard for you, maybe you need to be up on a blanket or little elevation. So see how you can engage the legs nicely, keeping that. Let's do a twist. We'll do a twist by reaching the right hand to the left foot. If you'd like to grab your strap for that, by all means. I'm going to keep the knees bent because for me, that is a way that I can get tone to the inner thigh muscles. So as I reach my right hand toward the left foot feels a ways away. So I'm going to reach as far as I can to the outer shin, let the right leg soften down so that I can get a little bit more twist with the right leg down, the left knee still bent. I can reach toward the outer left foot so that now my foot is working against my hand. My hand is pulling the foot back. The foot is reaching forward, and the left foot guides me slowly toward a straight leg pose as I come to Parvrtta Upavistha Konasana. Inhale, lift yourself up. Yeah, bend both knees again, if you like. Pull from the inner edges of the feet in toward each other. See if you can get that engagement. Twist with the left hand, reaching over toward the right leg. Be careful not to lift your left hip as you do this. Reach over. Just start with the left hand somewhere to the outer shin if the foot's not available to you. Reach your left leg straighter. See if that helps you take your left hand to the outer right foot. Using the right hand to get this nice lifting quality of your spine, this nice lengthening quality of the spine. You can reach your right heel just a little bit further away from your hip as you come toward a straight right leg and draw your heart down. Inhale and lift yourself up. We'll come to a similar form of tree pose, but seated. Take your left foot to the inner right thigh. Now, ideally, this left knee should be at an angle. The full pose is that the left foot is actually pressing the left inner thigh. But for this variation, we'll have the left foot at the inner right thigh. It's probably more accessible to most of us this way. If you've got your strap, you might want to use it. Once again, you can improvise. One way is by bending the knee. Using the strap, just place it at the base of the toes, or just let the hands just draw toward the foot. So starting, grab the strap now in the left hand and use your right hand to keep your pelvis balanced. As you press the right hand down, notice how now the left sit bone gets firmly planted. You can draw yourself just a little bit deeper into this form of Janu Sirsasana. So as you walk your fingers toward your right toes, as you use your right hand to create length, especially on the left side ribs, draw your heart forward and just allow for nice lengthening action. If it's just a little bit more accessible for you to use your hand on the foot, that gives the foot a little bit of feedback, helps to tone the leg a little bit more. Inhale, you can lift yourself up out of the pose. Now, some of us get a sensation in the bent leg that doesn't feel that comfortable. If you are getting that at all, one of the things that you can do is just put a rolled up washcloth right behind the knee to give you a little bit more space. Let's come to the opposite side. So reach your left foot out. And again, full pose is right foot to the right inner thigh. Instead, we're going to just do a little variation here by drawing the right foot into a form similar to tree pose. It's actually called Ardha Paschimottanasana. But wherever you're at, if you can go a little bit wider with your knee, please do. But be protective of your knee. For some of us, it's really important to just have the knee in a more passive pose with the foot planted. So wherever you're at, let's find a way to reach toward the left foot, whether that be with your right hand or with or without the strap. If you're using the strap, place it right at the base of the toes and let your left hand just do lots of work here. Press your left hand firmly so that you'll feel the right sit bones drawing toward the earth as you turn your heart toward the outer left leg. Just draw yourself into this forward fold and just allow nice ease to the action. Again, if you'd like to hold on to the foot rather than the strap, by all means. A complete yoga practice where we do sun salutes, standing poses, balance poses, seated poses, and supine poses before our Savasana just gives us this feeling of well-roundedness. You feel like you have reached and brought awareness to so many areas of your body. So just enjoy this time on the mat where you can take your attention to the poses, take your attention to your breath, to do this very well-rounded practice. Now inhale and rise up to come out of the pose. We'll do another seated pose with our feet together. With your feet together, extend them out in Dandasana Engage your toes nicely. Use your hands to help get length of the side body from the pelvis to the armpit. Now walk your hands back just a little bit with the fingers directed toward the toes. Bend your elbows, hug your elbows in to get this nice lifting quality. You can hold that position. We can do another variation if you'd like to bend your knees with your hands firmly planted, with your elbows bent, with your elbows hugging in to get that fullness of the upper chest. On the in-breath, lift your pelvis up. Have this nice fullness before releasing your pelvis down and extending your feet forward again to come to Dandasana. Enjoy a nice fullness to your breath, a nice engagement of your legs, a nice spread of your toes to find that tone in the muscles of your legs. Now do the same thing. Walk your hands back a little bit and pause wherever you wish in this version of the pose, but get the elbows to bend and pull in toward each other to get this fullness of the upper chest. Press down firmly through the base of the index fingers. Your choice if you'd like to bend your knees and root down through the hands to lift your pelvis up. Look up, maybe even look back. And slowly release your pelvis down. Come back to Dandasana where we started. Get this nice fullness of breath. Now bend your knees again. Reach your hands forward. Slowly lower yourself to the mat. And once you're on the mat, grab your strap and take it around your right foot. With your left knee bent, reach your right foot up into the strap. With the strap right at the base of the toes, hold on to the strap with the right hand, reach your left arm out with your palm facing up, and draw your right foot over to your right side. If you go too far, you'll feel the left hip tilt off the earth. So lift up the right foot so that you can get a balanced action in the pelvic area. Inhale, lift your right foot up. Now release your right foot. Take your left foot up. I like keeping the opposite leg bent on the first round just to keep the pelvis more stable. So as you press down through the right foot into the mat, you can reach your left foot off to the side. And again, it's very easy to go too far and you just kind of lose the engagement of the left hip. So lift up slightly so that you get both sides of the pelvis balanced. Inhale, lift your left foot up and release your left foot down. We'll start again with the opposite leg bent as you take your right leg up for Supta Padangustasana. Hold on to the strap in the right hand. And as you do, reach your left leg straight. Now see if you can keep the left thigh from popping up too much as you go just slightly over to the right side. Not too deep here. We're just working to keep the hip points parallel, the left leg planted. So it's not too much of a side stretch. Inhale, lift your right foot up and bend your left knee. Take the strap to your left foot. Reach your left foot up. Hold on to your strap. With the right foot planted, keep the hips parallel as you slide your right heel so that the right leg becomes straight. I always like pressing my hand down to keep that leg strong. If you'd rather reach your right arm out to keep your right shoulder aligned, go ahead to do that. But see if you can keep as much steadiness in the pelvic area as possible as you go to the left side. Inhale, lift your foot up, and exhale, release the foot out of the strap. I like ending the practice in a bridge pose. You can support your bridge. You can have an unsupported bridge, or you can go to a full wheel pose, Urdhva Dhanurasana. So let's check that out. Grab your blocks and see if you can slide the blocks, one block or two blocks, right under your sacrum so that you have a nice platform to work with. Bend your elbows to press your elbows down and get this nice opening of the upper chest with your pelvis planted, with your elbows working to lift the upper chest. Just enjoy this nice supported back bend. Now, if you feel like you can slide the blocks out from underneath you and support your bridge without the blocks under your sacrum, by all means. Keep a nice lifting quality to the pelvis. There may be some of us that want to go to full wheel pose. If that's the case, place your hands over your head. Lift your pelvis. With the pelvis lifted, lift up to your head. With that, lift yourself all the way up. Just get this nice fullness in the pose, nice engagement in the legs. And as you're ready, you can come down out of the pose. Enjoy your breath. And as you allow your arms to just be supported, your legs reach out. You allow your body to release. You've given yourself this time for a full practice. As you keep your awareness to your breath, allow yourself to just kind of settle in the arms and the legs. Feel heavy. You feel rooted to the earth. And that brings with it a sensation of ease. You breathe in deep. And you breathe out long. Breathe in deep. And out long. Breathe in deep. And out long. Breathe in deep. And out long. Bend your knees and place your feet firmly down. And even as you begin movement, as you take the arms up and over your head, go slow so that you can keep the ease of Savasana with you. Draw over to the right side. Pause here. Slowly lift yourself up to come to a seated pose. Honor this time that you've given yourself to really connect and do a full practice of sun salutes, standing poses, balance poses, seated poses, supine poses, and finally Savasana. We honor the teachings that yoga brings to us. Namaste.